I landed up eating such wrong things in the pretext this is good for you and the child that I was like, I'd gained 22 kilos. At the end of the day, it is you as an individual who can and has the ability to be either happy or sad. Just start your day 1 hour early. That's all it could take if you want. You need to fix yourself first before you start fixing anything else around you. Our body is telling us something that it doesn't want this. So why put it into your system? This journey from magic to logic and from logic to magic has been just beautiful.
Hello and welcome to the Ivory podcast. Today we have with us Mrs. Megha Tata. I believe that every 5 years you probably meet one or two people who will have a deep impact on you. I'm talking about Mrs. Megha Tata. Megha has had a very storied professional career with over 3 decades of work experience in stellar companies like Turner, HBO, Discovery, and Star. She has been somebody who's also maintained alongside a very healthy lifestyle, and as far as I know, she's one of the fittest and healthiest people who have ever worked in a corporate setting.
Wow,
Megha,
thank you.
welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Isaac, for the wonderful introductions. Thank you.
Megha, I've known you for about 5-6 years now, and all this while, I've always seen you eat healthy in office. I know you do a bunch of things to stay healthy. Tell us a little bit about when did you get on this journey that, you said that, okay, I'm going to live a slightly more healthier lifestyle for myself. What was that first trigger?
I think, so I'm a mother of 2 daughters, as you know. So during both my pregnancies, I had gained a lot of weight, actually. And the quintessential challenge a lot of Indian women have is they get surrounded by so much advice, which is quite not required, and you fall prey to it because, especially as a first-time mother, you don't know much. And I landed up eating such wrong things in the pretext this is good for you and the child that I was like, I'd gained 22 kilos. And I was like, oh my God, and eventually the child came out as the child had to come out, but I in the bargain became really, really big. So I think that's when it struck me when I had my first baby that this is not right. This is not me. I don't feel good about myself, not just physically, but just mentally as well. It was sort of imbalancing me the way I was all this while before I got pregnant. And that's when I said, I've got to take this up on me. No one's going to do that because there are enough people around with as many people, that many opinions. And so I approached it in a way that I listen to everybody, but I'll do what I think is right, what I feel is right. And that's when my journey, I think, began. It was right after my first pregnancy when I had stopped feeding my daughter. I decided to get into a regimen. And since then, it's been now 25 years since my first child. And I've been very regular in some form of regimen, which involves either workouts, eating healthy, and having a balanced life. So yeah, it's been 25 years since my first baby, since I have followed this regimen, and I'm feeling really good about that. I could take the, these decisions in my own hands, and I think I've been happy since then. Yeah.
That's a great story, but tell me, it's been 25 years and, back then, there was not so much of, let's say, literature available about how to stay fit. I think today, if you go on the net, of course, there are credible sources. But how did you make the decision for yourself about who to listen to and who not to listen to? Was that like personal trial and error?
Yeah, I would say it was trial and error. There was no ready reckoners. Of course, there were many books out there we could refer to, how to lose weight after pregnancy. But I think like I said, I whatever felt right for me, and I just said, I love sweating out. I love a good game. I love a good workout. I've always enjoyed that adrenaline rush whenever I've had a workout or I've had a game. I've been a sports person all my school lives and college life. I played badminton, I played handball, so and throw ball. So all kinds of games, sometimes even at state level. So when you've grown up with that, and you've been in sports, suddenly not doing anything after a point of time gets to your body. The body tells you that, and you got to listen to your body, and that's what is important. I think every body speaks to you, but you need to listen to it. So I started listening to my body, and I said, like, this is not right. I'm not feeling good about the way I am. I've got to take that. So I just decided. So I joined a dance class, or joined a workout, or a gym, started eating healthy. So it was more, I think, what I felt right in my gut is what I followed through.
Right. And you've raised two such lovely children. I would love to know if any young mother is watching this who is, let's say, going through the same journey. From your personal experience, what are maybe one or two things that you would tell them, let's say if they are feeling exactly the way you said you felt 25 years ago?
Yeah, they will feel, and I'm telling you, it's absolutely natural and normal. So first, don't stress. And, postmortem blues, as they call them, the post-pregnancy blues are a very natural phenomena. So don't overthink this. But let me also say, it's easier said than done. When you're going through it yourself, only that person knows that how you're feeling. So, but I also believe that you have to take that choice of how you want to be. I'm a big believer in that, Isaac, because, at the end of the day, it is you as an individual who can and has the ability to be either happy or sad. It is so simple, right? You cannot blame the world, you cannot blame the situation or whatever is happening around you. You have that choice of how you want to be. And hence, so even for that young mother out there, take that step. You have that choice. No one's going to tell you that, do this, do that, or even if they do, but feel it here. And if you feel that I want to make a difference, I want to be different, then you've got to be the change you want to be, as they say, right? So that is how I would tell that young mother out there.
So Megha, once when we spoke about, what healthy regimen that, one can follow, you said that you always like to mix and match certain things.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now as a matter of, physical activity.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so I think, like you said, I've been doing I've tried various regimen on workout, whether it is diets or workouts. But currently, I am following a combination of regular workouts at home and yoga. So I have been following the path of spirituality now for over a decade. And I follow Sadhguru and the Isha Foundation. And Sadhguru has provided a lot of tools, practices, so to speak, to help you keep healthy. And I love what Sadhguru says, the only way out is going inwards. So, and that is what I try to do. So try to, get myself more aligned and balanced. So a combination of workout, and I have a fantastic trainer. She comes home, her name is Kamna, and she's fabulous. And she also brings in a very holistic experience of workout. So it's not only, physical in terms of strength training, but it's a combination of Tai Chi, yoga practices, stretches. So it's a combination of that along with my Isha tool practices. So that is what I'm currently following in terms of workouts. But then balance it also with a lot of the kind of food I eat. So that, as they say, you are what you eat, right? So that is what is very, very critical. So you can't do an either or existence. You can't either eat right or either do workouts. You have to have the combination to stay that balance. So I combine that very regularly now.
Got it. So recently I asked 100 of, like my friends network on LinkedIn as to what part of their life do they struggle with the most. And interestingly, they mentioned physical activity. That was like, 40% of people said that they struggle with physical activity or making time for physical activity. You've been working all throughout, and yet I know you've been very regular at, everything that you have done. For somebody who's just sort of has this thing going on in their lives that, they are not able to make time for it, what would you say can be a trigger or a motivation for them to change their schedule a little bit, let's say, to begin with?
See, I say that, okay, it depends on, that's how I started. So if I used to wake up at, say, 8 o'clock, right? I just made sure that I wake up at 7 o'clock. Just start your day 1 hour early. That's all it could take if you want, So my day starts much early. I start at 6 today nowadays, and because I have at least about hour and a half I dedicate to myself to on these regimens, because it's really important. They say, I'm sure you've traveled in airlines, right? So when the instruction of airlines coming, and it says that when the oxygen drops, the mask will fall. But it always says that you put it on yourself before you put it on your child or who's accompanying you. That's what you need to do. You need to fix yourself first before you start fixing anything else around you. And for that, you have to make that decision yourself. And I think even if you make that one change, like, start a day an hour early, for example, maybe that's a way to get you into some kind of a regimen. But to be honest, it has to come from here. How much ever books you read, how much ever podcasts you listen, and how much ever Ivory you consume, the fact is that individual has to feel that I have to make that difference, and that unfortunately only you as an individual can sort of make a call on.
Got it. And as regards food is concerned, because that's such an important part, I think popular literature will always say that you can work out as much as you want, but food is 80% of like your overall healthy lifestyle. Anything that you have changed with regard to your food, Megha, that you can share with our audience that has really had a positive impact?
I know. And that's a beautiful question, because it's such an important question to keep a healthy and balanced life. And I have seen a physical change and a mental change happen when I made those changes. And not just me, but even my husband for that matter. So I mean, we are like, I'm a Punjabi Kashmiri combination. My husband's a Parsi. So, we are as carnivorous as it comes. And so we've tried eating everything, in our growing lives. And somewhere down the line, I don't know, maybe it is to do the yoga practices we started when we started doing a bit more meditation. We felt that every time we were eating anything meats, whether it's a chicken or a mutton or especially meats actually, it wasn't working on us. We felt, queasy and uneasy and acidic, and something didn't work right. So we stopped it for some time. I said maybe, it's just a phase. We stopped it for a few weeks. Then we wanted to have it again, and we had it again. And then again we felt that. And then we said, our body is telling us something, that it doesn't want this. So why put it into your system? And I think to me, that was a big shift which took place. So the day we stopped eating non-veg, as in especially meats and chicken, that's when we have felt a big shift in the way we are, just more energetic, more positive. I think it's a combination of everything. It's not just what you're eating. Like I said, it's a combination of all of that. So there's yoga practices, what you're eating, I mean, I'd like to eat far more raw food actually. Not enough raw food is good. I do eat a lot of raw food, but I know that raw food can work really better on your body, especially the sattvic food. But that's an extreme which we haven't reached there yet. But this shift definitely happened. The moment we removed non-vegetarian from our daily diet, sometimes you feel like you have an urge. It's okay. We didn't give it for religious reasons. We gave it for health reasons. So when you feel the urge sometimes to have a little mutton biryani, it's absolutely okay, and I do that. But on a regularly, how we were eating almost every day, weekly, monthly, that is something we have stopped, and I think that's made a big difference for me for sure.
Got it. In fact, interesting that you mentioned plant-based food, because almost all the zones in the world where people live the longest, it's plant-based food is the number one thing that they consume.
And it's a huge, in fact, plant-based food is something we are really, we really enjoy. It is not organic, and so you have to be sort of careful about how much of that you consume, but definitely a fantastic option for those meat eaters who have given up and sometimes have that urge. And there are some fantastic brands in the market today. You wouldn't know the difference, and we fooled a lot of meat eaters with that. And so that's a good, it's a good go-to for us too.
I think that's an experiment we have to do soon.
Yeah, right.
I know we have that challenge coming up.
Yeah.
We've spoken a lot about what are the right things to, let's say, practice from a workout perspective, food perspective. Megha, when you look back on your life, let's say the last 2 decades, right? You were actively working, you were probably keeping a busy schedule. What are some things that you wish you had done differently, from, again, a healthy living perspective? What are the mistakes that you made that, let's say, if you were to live your 30s and 40s all over again, what are maybe one or two, like this meat thing, for example, that you mentioned? Would you do it differently now, given all the knowledge you have today?
100%, 100%. Knowledge is um, such an integral part of how you become as an individual. Influence of the right people becomes such an integral part of who you become. So for me, I feel that I wish I had started this path of spirituality much earlier. And I feel good that our daughters, they are in their 20s, they are touched by it, and they have started that in their own little way onto the path. So I wish I had done that at that age, because the earlier you start on balancing your worlds, and like I always say, it is not an either or, because that was the mistake I used to think, like, oh, spirituality. Oh, I have to give up the worldly pleasures. I have to sit up in a mountain, be an ascetic, so I'll do this when I retire. It's for my parents and my grandparents, bhakti and all of that. But what a fool I was, what a fool I was, and how I wish I had exposure to an alternative path which I can relate to. I think what also has happened in the last 20 years is there are more, for want of a better word, gurus in who can relate to a bit more evolved individuals.
So when exactly did you, start that journey? I know it's kept you like a very grounded, calm. I've never seen you stressed. So tell me, what was the trigger for you to get on that spiritual journey first up?
It was a natural progression. It wasn't forced. It felt right. Timing was right. Whatever, as they say, there's always a right time for everything. I think we were at that right time about a decade ago. And I think the journey's only begun for us. We're just getting deeper into it. But it's been the most fulfilling journey for us, because it's really evolved us as individuals. We've not, we still live in the real world, do the things which the real world has to offer. But at the same time, we have that balanced approach. We just keep it calm. Like Sadhguru says, that you can't fix what is around you. The only thing you can and have the ability to fix is this one person, which is yourself. So if at least do that, which is what we try to do, we inner engineer ourselves, we try to be the best version of us. And in that comes the beautiful, magical outcome, and I think this journey from magic to logic and from logic to magic has been just beautiful.
Got it. One of the things I want to talk to you about is when you're really working, stress jobs, environment that you're surrounded with, you often sometimes keep falling off the treadmill, right? Like it's not continuous that you will have like 365 days of healthy workout, healthy eating. It's just not possible.
No.
So once you fall off the treadmill, is it easy getting back on? Has it been personally easy for you? And again, like any thoughts there on what you could do to sort of arrest that slide, if I may? It's a very real problem that a lot of us face.
Yeah. No, I think I have had a few, when you've gone off track. Like I said, when I was pregnant, the 2 times over, that time it was, but that was for a reason in that sense. Though I don't fully agree that you can have that balanced approach even while you're through pregnancy, but I didn't. And but post that, I think I try to do something. Like, I don't give up completely. So the thing is that it's very easy to give up. Okay, it's such an easy thing. Okay, forget it. Okay, put the alarm off, go back to sleep. It's such an easy action, right? But what is the outcome of that action is something you have to be conscious about. And I have tried to, make, sometimes against my wishes, an effort to do something. But by and large, Isaac, I've never really fallen off that treadmill. I've done something or the other, whether it's going to a dance class if I'm bored with workouts, or going to like a run on the beach, or doing playing a game, taking up a sport. Like I recently took up, it's been a while now, but I recently took up a sport called pickleball. I love that game
It's
because it
fun.
was a combination of badminton and tennis, both games which I love. And this was light on your body and your knees specifically. At a certain age, you need that. So I took that up and I love that game. So I think you've got to do thoda something, You can't say ki ab bas ho gaya, now it's all done. It's not. Till you're alive. And because if you want to stay alive, you've got to keep this going.
And this is really what it's all about, like, maintaining a high quality life even as you age, and, not
Yes.
compromising on what things that you love to do.
Yes.
That's what we talk about at Ivory as well. Like, I think aging is natural, but to do it on your own terms and to not lose that quality of life is important. Let's shift gears now on a related note to, like how our parents have been living. And I'm sure there are some lessons there as well. Is there some things that, you've seen your parents do that you would advise, let's say, those of us who are in our 30s and 40s to also recommend to our parents? Because that's something that we're always worried about, right?
Yeah.
What is mom eating? What is dad eating?
Yeah.
So tell us some nuggets from that part of your personal life.
Sure. So my parents have been big influence in both mine and my sister's lives, especially our mom. She passed about a year and a half ago, but she was a live wire. And, for someone of her, like, you wouldn't know that she was in the 70s. She lived her life. She was 18 till she died. And I think that was a big learning and a big influence for both my sister and I. And she lived life. And I think it was not about what she ate and what she did, it's just the way she was. And I think that to me was a big influence. And I try to emulate her in, sometimes I can never be her, but I try to emulate her in just, living her life for the fullest, from making samosas to, she was a MA in English literature. So she was teaching English in colleges, to having a restaurant, to work, being the first, woman in the post-production business in the film industry. She was amazing. And she just did it because, let me give it a shot. It doesn't matter. Age is just a number. And I think that is what I sort of imbibe with from her and her personality. But overall, I think both my parents have lived their life on their terms. Would I take any health tips from them? Nope. Nope, absolutely. And we joke about it, and so some of the things they've done, I would not do it myself, and definitely would not ask my children to do. But my dad was in the Air Force. He was a helicopter pilot. So they've lived their lives fully. But I think just the personality-wise, they lived their lives on their own terms. They brought us, two of us, really well, and we're fully, we are because of them. So I think that's how I would put it. But I think parents do make a big influence onto you, good or bad. And I think we've been fortunate that we had our parents making us who we are.
Got it. But I'm very intrigued. Why did you say no health tips? So let's talk about maybe mistakes they made that, you don't want your children to make.
Yeah. So I think one is, like, my dad's was a chain smoker. So I think that is playing out on him now at 82. And that's not nice. It eventually pays you off in not such a way. I mean, I'm not getting into smoking is right or wrong here, but I think anything extreme is not right. Maybe you want to smoke, but you don't have smoked 2 packs a day. So and that is where I think I feel that I wouldn't advise that to anybody. And not having a very healthy regimen, like, of course, in his life, being an Air Force officer, he had a lot of travel. He was on the war front, so it's not easy to live that life as well. So huge respect for him for that. But I think those are the few things I would say. And for mom, I think she was like, she should follow a balanced world. She was conscious of what she ate. She was conscious of her workout. She used to do some bit of workout. She was a sports person. She used to play badminton. So I think I got those genes out of her, and I think. So that was wonderful about mom's balancing her food and her workout regimen. She was a great dancer. So I think those were the things I would say were okay, but they were not very conscious about health and fitness as probably we are in this
Yeah,
generation.
I think health was coincidence,
It was
and
there,
yeah,
हाँ.
it was not
Healthy
by
खाना
design.
है तो घी डालो,
Uh, yeah,
yeah, गोंद के लड्डू खिलाओ if you're like pregnant, and that's when I become a गोंद myself by the end of it. So laddu myself. So I think that those are the little things which I'm not sure I would like to follow from my parents, but yeah.
got it. Let's talk about some of the things you're looking forward to, let's say in your 60s. And at Ivory, we wear our age as a badge of pride. So let's talk about. I know you're not 60s yet, far from it, but still, like as
Getting
you look
there,
towards
I'll be
that,
55.
let's
so.
say the next 10 years. What are some of the things that you're really looking forward to doing, in the next 10 years?
So I think from one is of course maintaining what I'm doing. I think I'm not. We've reached a stage, both my husband and I, that we're very happy in our space. Like we like where we are. The way we look, the way we are as individuals, the way our world is right now, professionally or personally, and we're very satiated, maybe. Okay. So I think we're not, at least I'm also not keen to make any changes. Even if we stick to what we are doing, I think we're happy with that. But maybe what I would like to do is a bit more looking inwards. I think we've just touched the surface of that. And the impact of it is so beautiful because we've experienced it. We think that we can be a bit more, like we can walk that path a bit more deeper. But maybe that's something what I'll do. But right now, I think I'm in a happy space, both physically and mentally.
Got it. As regards stress management, because again, like I said,
Yeah.
I think I've seen you consciously work towards it.
Yeah.
You've given me advice from time to time about how, I should not get stressed about certain things. What is it that, you would tell a 40-year-old who is, let's say, not panicking, but, not sleeping easy, let's say, at
Yeah.
night?
Yeah.
What are one or two things that he or she can do to, sort of get this stress management piece a little more manageable, so to speak?
Again, quoting Sadhguru, he says, you manage things which you love. So why do you need to manage stress? You don't manage stress, which is not something you enjoy. So I think it is very important for that individual to really like look deep and say, prioritize what is important to you. Deadlines, not a good boss, issues at home, no promotions, work's not good. All these issues will always be there. And that is why it's very important. I'm sorry to sound like a stuck record, but I really feel very strongly that you have to have an alternative path in your life. Whether it is through spirituality or meditation or yoga or anything, you have to cut yourself every day for some time for yourself. And that, trust me, it's like that oxygen mask, to put it on yourself first before you put it onto anybody else. And that putting onto yourself, only you can do now. Even the air hostess doesn't come and put it onto you. You pick it up and put it onto you. So you have to make that effort. Unfortunately, there is no shortcut to that. There is no app. You can look in and you can listen to Calm and do whatever you want. But eventually, it is your personal journey, and your personal journey has to begin from you. So I would urge everybody that, take a moment, from this hustle bustle. Even if you're in that treadmill, I keep saying that, even if you increase that speed to 7, 8, 10, whatever, you're still running on the same place. However fast you're running, you're still on the treadmill. You've not moved an inch. So how good is that in life? However fast you're running, how good is a life which is a treadmill? Make it a marathon. Run on the road. Fall down. make that mistake, but you've got to make that effort yourself. So, there is no black book with some rules out there which can make things happen. So I really would urge you, because I feel very strongly about it. You need to have an alternative path in your life to keep that balance. Otherwise, life will pass you by while you're making plans.
I love the fact that, you did not specify any one thing, but you just said that find an alternative path.
Find an
And I think,
alternative, yes.
Megha, thank you once again for sharing some
Thank
of your very deeply personal stories with us. And I hope all of you feel as inspired as we did bringing this episode to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Isaac, and
Thank
good
you.
luck with Ivory.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.